What's up, y'all? It's your boy KevOnStage, and I want to get back to doing something I used to do, which is give motivational messages, speeches, sermons, vignettes, whatever you want to call them, on Sundays. I used to make funny ones. Sometimes I'll make funny ones, sometimes serious, sometimes a comedy, mix of both, whatever. But I was watching a documentary on Jeremy Lin, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, this is a perfect example of God's perfect plan. I'll give you a brief history of Jeremy Lin if you're not sure. If you don't know about him, watch Linsanity on Netflix. It was really, really good. But anyway, he's the first Asian American basketball player to go to the NBA in modern America, modern basketball times. And I watched his Linsanity thing happen in real time, and I was happy for him, all that. But there was a lot of part of the story that I wasn't aware of. So I want to give you a brief history just so you understand how, God was working in his life. And if you watch a documentary, Jeremy Lin will tell you, I'm not like throwing this on him and he doesn't believe it. He admits it, and it was really impressive to see. So he's an Asian kid, really good at basketball, played with his brothers. Every team he was on, AAU team, he was good, but everybody told him he's not good enough. So he always had to work the hardest, end up taking the game-winning shots to prove, he's the best, guarding the best player, all that stuff. So when he would play the best player, they would say he's, the best player is no longer good. So he wanted to go D1, went to a high school championship, beat the #1 team in California, Modern Day, which was a huge basketball team, powerhouse. They beat them, still gets no scholarships from the schools he wanted to go to. Goes to Harvard in the Ivy League, balls out like crazy, doesn't get drafted to the NBA. Has a monster workout for the New York Knicks, figures he's going to get drafted there, doesn't get drafted. Gets signed by the Golden State Warriors, which is owned by his childhood friend's dad. So his childhood friend's father owned the Warriors, right? Signs Jeremy Lin, but they have too many good players, so he ends up getting cut. He goes, plays for the Houston Rockets for like 10 days, balls out, they don't keep him, gets cut. Gets picked up by the New York Knicks, who he killed that draft workout, and he has basically 10 days before the trade deadline. This is his last year of his, first year of his deal, the last, 2 weeks of his first deal. If he doesn't ball, they can cut him and not pay him. So he has 3 games to prove himself. First game, he's thinking about everything, doesn't ball, nothing like that. Next game, he asks God, if this is for me, show me a sign. Mom prays the same exact thing. He goes for like 38 points. Mind you, the thing that set up him getting the opportunity to play was Carmelo Anthony getting hurt and Iman Shumpert getting hurt. So the coach, Mike D'Antoni, who runs a run and gun style offense, which means run up and, all that stuff, the same way Jeremy Lin plays, the GM was like, look, just play him. If he sucks, we can cut him, but we need to see what he can do. Long story short, he goes for like 25 points a game for 3 games straight, like blowing things up, hitting game winners like he did when he was young. I mean, just going crazy. Linsanity is born. Everybody's talking about him. He's playing so well, the Knicks can't cut him. He plays the end of that contract out and is signed to a 3-year, $25 million deal by the Houston Rockets, who had cut him that previous year. So that to me was like a perfect example of God's perfect plan. I forgot to mention that in his junior year of high school, he got a big head. I'm balling, I'm this, I'm that. And he broke his ankle. And from that moment on, he realized that talent was never going to get him where he wanted to get. It was hard work. So all those things that were happening in his life that he thought were bad, about to get cut, didn't get drafted, it's showing you that God had a plan for his life. Childhood friend, who would have ever thought that my childhood friend, dad's going to buy the team that's going to sign me? What are the chances of that? The team that didn't draft me, broke my heart, is the one that gives me a chance. The team that picked me up when I got cut and then cut me again is the one that hires me for 3 years, $25 million. So that showed me that even today, we don't realize it, but God has a perfect plan for your life. And oftentimes, the thing that we think is bad for us is what's really working out for our benefit. So if we want to take this to a biblical story, it's very similar to the story of Joseph. Joseph was a dreamer, and in Genesis 37:5, he says, it says, Joseph had a dream. When he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said, listen to this dream I had. We were all in the field gathering bundles of wheat. All of a sudden, my bundle stood up, and your bundle circled around it and bowed down to mine. Brothers got mad, and they plotted to kill him. They even said, here comes the dreamer, we're going to kill him. But one of them was like, let's just throw him in a cistern in a big ditch and let somebody come and buy him, whatever. So in long story short, his brothers plotted to kill him because he said the dream he interpreted said that they would bow down to him. So I just want to run off the things that happened in Joseph's life. He's sold off to Potiphar, and in Egypt he works in Potiphar's house. He's attending to his affairs, all that thing. Everything's going well. Potiphar's wife is attracted to him, and she finds him attractive. He was a handsome young man, all that stuff. So she finds him attractive. She tries to get him to sleep with him, and he says no. So Potiphar's wife lies, tells Potiphar, Joseph tried to sleep with me, throws him in jail. In jail, he was put over all the affairs of the jail. So he's doing the same thing he was doing in Potiphar's house in the jail. So things are going well in the jail, as well as things can go in jail. He's working, all that stuff. And then Pharaoh has a dream that, no one can interpret. So he hears that Joseph can interpret dreams. Brings Joseph out of jail. Joseph interprets the dream, says, hey, there's a famine coming. You need to stop grain, everything like that. Otherwise, it's going to be all bad for everybody. So Pharaoh's like, man, you know what? You interpreted the dream. You the one that's been running stuff. I'm about to put you over ruler of everything in Egypt. So now Joseph is the man. You can tell everybody. You can tell everybody. You can tell everybody. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the man. So Joseph is the man in Egypt. He's, making moves, doing all this stuff. And the famine affects his family. So his brothers have to come to Egypt and bow down before him and say, man, we need food. They don't even recognize him. Like, that's how much things had changed. The brother that they thought was dead was now in charge of Egypt. They didn't even recognize him. And they had to bow down to him just like he said they would when he was a kid. So this whole story is one of my favorite stories. But it shows you that God is planning things for us, and we've just got to understand that it's working out for our good. See, sometimes in life, when things happen bad to us, we don't take the lesson that can be learned. So if Joseph had been mad at God and mad at life and just sulking in jail and not running the jail, then his ability to run things would have been questioned. Like, man, he was in jail, he was a little crybaby, whatever. You can't possibly use him. But in jail, he was still doing what he did on the outside. He wasn't all sunken in. He was just working his gift. All he was doing, working his gift, interpreting dreams. They forgot about him in jail. A guy said he was going to hook him up. He didn't. 2 years went by, and then the cupbearer was like, oh, Joseph is a guy who can do this. I totally forgot about him. And he was still working. Same thing he had always been doing. So even when bad things were happening to him, he was taking the lesson and working his gift. And that's kind of how God's perfect plan works. Things that you think are happening bad for you are really setting you up for what God has for you. But you have to continue to keep your head up, keep your faith, all that stuff. When I got fired for chasing my dream, people would think I was a bad employee, and I was partially. But the real reason I got fired is because the person asked me, my area retail leader asked me, what is your dream? And I told her my dream is to be an entertainer. And she told me, we want people to work here whose dream is to work at Key Bank, not do anything else. And I was put on a performance improvement plan. The next Monday, 90 days to produce $10 or $1 million worth of loans in the worst housing market part of American history in my life. It was impossible. So when I got fired, I told Lisa, this is what I kind of really want to do full time. And she was like, okay, now that I know that, let's make a plan. But that doesn't mean you can do it right now. You got to still get a job. So spend the time, the whole year, raising my kids, trying to get a job, doing YouTube. That's when I started doing YouTube. A little bit here and there, did the fatherhood series. Then I got a job and I started working full-time job and doing YouTube. And working those crazy long hours, a full-time 9-hour job with commute, making it 10 hours, then coming home and making YouTube videos and editing them, got me used to working 15 hours a day, which is what I have to do now to make this YouTube dream happen. I can't just work 9 to 5. I got to get up at 6, work out, and get my kids ready for school and do all that. And that's what I learned when I was at home with them, how to get them up, get them ready for school, get them off to school, help them out with homework, and still do what I need to do. I learned that when I was fired. And then when I learned I needed 15-hour days, I learned that when I had to work full-time at Boeing and YouTube. So now that I finally have what was my dream, I had the tools for this dream at times when life would consider to be bad for me. So God's perfect plan is the equivalent of playing chess. When you play a chess master, they know moves ahead of time. You don't even realize what they're doing. They just might move a pawn right here, and they see moves 7 steps ahead. Great chess players know they have you beat 15 moves before you know you lost. You think you still have a chance, and they know no matter what you do, now that I have this situation in place, you are going to lose. And that's the same way God works. He's playing chess in our lives, setting things up, making moves, sometimes years in advance. Years in advance. Melissa Fredericks is one of the most integral parts of my success, our family's success. And I met her when I was 16. Integral piece. So I said all that to say God has a perfect plan for you and for your life. So don't despise the things that happen bad, because a lot of times those same things are what God's using to build you up for what he has planned for you. This is your boy KevOnStage. Every Sunday I would like to do a message like this, some sort of thing to encourage you, in life or whatever. So if you like this, comment, hey, Kev, more of this. If you don't like this, then maybe you'll like one another Sunday, because I'm going to plan on doing something like this. Your boy KevOnStage. See you tomorrow.
What's up, everybody? It's KevOnStage. Come subscribe to my YouTube page. Don't you be bitter. Just follow me on Twitter. What's up, everybody? It's KevOnStage. Come subscribe to